Every now and then we get ice storms here in Oklahoma. And one of my favorite things to do on times like this is see what I can capture with my camera. Sometimes it works out great. Sometimes, well, it's more of a learning experience or a learning opportunity. And I think that's kind of what happened here. This was the morning after, well, it wasn't an ice storm. It was just a night with lots of sleet. And so we woke up and everything was covered in ice. All the roads were just a sheet of ice, and the schools closed, the university closed, and my wife and I got to just sort of hang out at home with our kids. And we spent a while outside. It was cold, but bundled up and played outside. And I had my camera with me for part of the time, and I wanted to just walk around and see what kind of pictures I could get. And I ended up with this one that you see here. It's more of an experiment. One thing I learned pretty quickly as I was outside with my camera is when this ice storm happened, there wasn't a lot of color all around. Everything was shades of dull green and dull brown, and all the life had gone out of the world, which kind of makes sense for the time of year. But I did notice this berry on one of our holly bushes, and it was like this dot of color amidst a sea of dullness. And I thought, well, I wonder if I can capture it in a macro picture. I was using my macro lens. I think it worked. I'm not quite sure. This little berry is about 1/4 inch in diameter, and that lens does allow me to get pretty close, which is kind of nice. I didn't really know, I don't know how to make it a compelling picture. Is it interesting? I guess it's a pretty simple shot. There's a ball of color right in the middle and surrounded by green. And it's either wet or it's icy. And at first you might think, oh, it's just covered in water, but it's actually covered in ice. Everything here is ice. There's nothing melted, at least not yet. It was fun to shoot this, but I don't know if it really accomplished what I wanted. Well, I guess what I wanted was just an experiment, just a photographic experiment, see what I capture close to home. I shot this at f8, ISO, 1/250th of a second, which is maybe a little too fast. I don't know. I shot it handheld, and my lens does have vibration reduction, but still, I like to use auto ISO with a pretty fast minimum shutter just to make sure that when I'm shooting, it's a 105 millimeter lens, and so you want at least about 180th of a second shutter with no vibration reduction. Basically, I'm hedging my bets here. F8, 1/250th of a second, ISO 2200, which is what the auto ISO calculated. And compositionally, it's fine. There's nothing like super standout about this photo, but it was an experiment for me to see what I could capture and how I could capture it. So was it a success? I guess so. I learned something from it and had some fun outside. Could I do it differently? I suppose. But in the end, I guess it was just a reminder to me that you don't have to go far to take pictures, especially on an icy day. This was literally like it's the hedge around our house, like not the yard, but the house. So anyway, it was kind of fun.